एग्जाम बाकी भी आप ही रहेगा ना, जो फैकल्टी आए तो इसका
You can stand there and then whenever the speaker comes, you should introduce at least thing. If at all needed, I'll ask.
Okay, ma'am. So
I'll look for the assistance.
which one first? Nikhil sir, right?
Anil.
Anil sir. Okay. So first Anil sir, then Kota sir, then Nikhil sir. Okay, sir. Okay, ma'am.
Good morning. I request all of you to settle down. The students. So a warm welcome to the dignitaries and all my dear students. On behalf of the organizing committee, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome today's chief guest, Dr. Kota Harinarayana, and the guest of honor, Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe, our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor Yaj Meduri, and Dean R&D, Professor Arya Bhattacharya, along with all the eminent speakers, academicians, young researchers, industry delegates, and students from all over the world to the third International Conference on Emerging Techniques in Computational Intelligence, ICETCI 2023. At Mahindra University, Ecole Central School of Engineering, Hyderabad, in association with IEEE Computational Intelligence Society. So I welcome you all. So building on the success of first and second conferences, we now look forward to learn on the frontline research and multiple applications in the domain of computational intelligence in this third edition. ICTCI aims to share deep insights on recent research and cutting-edge technologies with young, brilliant researchers all over the India and as well as industry delegates and talented student community. The goal of ICTCI is to bring together a multidisciplinary group of scientists and engineers from all over the world to present and exchange the breakthrough ideas related to computational intelligence. It promotes high-level research and globalizes the quality of research in general, thus making discussions, presentations globally relevant and competitive, and also bringing in attention on the recent outstanding achievements in this area. We look forward to an exciting interaction with eminent keynotes, speakers from different parts of the world, and I'm sure we will gain a lot of insights on the new and exciting results in this field. With this, I would like to congratulate all of you for your research commitment and active participation, and wishing you all great success in your research journey. I now request today's chief guest, a guest of honor, accompanied by our Vice Chancellor and Professor Nikhil Pal and then Professor Arya, to come over to the dais and light the lamp. I request all the guests to occupy their seats on the dais. Thank you all for inaugurating the conference by lighting the lamp. Prayer is an action. It is the process of talking with God with energy in order to achieve purpose. So let us begin by seeking the blessings of the Lord Almighty with an invocation song. Request our students to present.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणा वरदण्ड मण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युत शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा पूजिता सामान् पातु सरस्वती भगवती निशेष जाड्यापहा। कमलजादल विमल सुनयन करिवरद करुणाम्बुदे हरि करुणा सेरदे कमलकान्त केसि नरकासुरविभेदन वरद वेल सुरपुरोत्तम करुणा सेरदे कमलकान्त कान्त कान्त। Thank you.
Thank you, Pravallika and Mayuk, for rendering the lively song. Let me now introduce to you the brain behind the conference, Professor Arya K. Bhattacharya. He is the Dean of Research, Professor and Head of the Department of Computer Science in the School of Engineering Sciences at Mahindra University. I welcome him to share his journey and the pre-preparation of the conference and give us some insights about the conference.
Thank you, Prafulla. So good morning to all of you. A hearty welcome to our honorable guests, Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Dr. Kota Harinarayana, Professor Nikhil Pal, our respected Vice Chancellor, and to all the respected delegates and dignitaries in the third International Conference on Emerging Techniques in Computational Intelligence. This is being organized at Mahindra University, of course, with participation of IEEE Hyderabad chapter and technically co-sponsored by the IEEE Computational Intelligence Society. So just to give our delegates and some of the students who are here a kind of introduction to the topic. Often we describe the relationship between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning as two successive supersets of pure subsets, with artificial intelligence at the outermost, and of course, in order, machine learning comes within that, and deep learning comes still within machine learning. But computational intelligence also stands as a complete subset of the outermost, that is artificial intelligence, and overlaps with machine learning. That is, it covers some additional topics from artificial intelligence that are generally considered as outside machine learning. So these include subjects like evolutionary algorithms, fuzzy logic and fractals, which we are actually listening to in the morning keynote, and a few others. Of course, computational intelligence includes neural networks, and this is where it overlaps with machine learning. So an alternative way of looking at computational intelligence is that it significantly draws inspiration from natural and biological processes. This conference is supposed to focus on new and emerging topics within computational intelligence. These include, among many others, topics like brain-computer interface, computational neuroscience, quantum computing, etc. We do not seem to have received many papers in these areas, although we look forward to them. On the other hand, we have received multiple good papers in known areas, manifesting developments at the frontiers of existing domains, as well as novel applications. These cover medical imaging and diagnostics, natural language processing, including GPTs, that's generative pre-trained transformers, evolutionary algorithms, etc. Now, we have received 145 papers for this conference, which is significantly more than last time. And after a rigorous review process where almost every paper passed through 4 qualified reviewers, the number of papers actually selected for presentation is 54. This is significantly below a 50% acceptance rate. We have classified the papers received into 3 broad areas, which have been mapped into 10 technical sessions. So these sessions are deep learning and computer vision, for which we have 2 sessions, deep learning and natural language processing, for which we have 1 session, general topics in computational intelligence, for which we have 5 sessions, and computational sequence modeling, for which we have 1 session. There is an additional session on applications in industry and society. And we can be sure that all presented papers will be of high quality. There are 9 keynote talks by very eminent specialists in their fields, some from academia and some from industry, both from India and abroad. It will be really technically inspiring and motivating to listen to them. In fact, we had one talk just before this inaugural function. Of course, it was online. Additionally, as mentioned, there have been 6 tutorials from emerging topics, which were held yesterday. So the conference has spawned quite a lot of interest, and we have had nearly 100 registrations, plus a lot of interest from our students. All in all, we look forward to 3 days of intense techno-academic excitement and motivation, which will hopefully inspire many of us to work in these fields with renewed interest and passion. Once again, I welcome all the honored delegates to the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Arya, for bringing us about the topics covered in the conference and the thought behind choosing these topics. Now we have our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor Yaj Meduri. He has been a strong support to us in executing this conference. His insights helped us shaping up the conference better. I request Professor Meduri to address the gathering.
Morning, Professor Kota Harinarayana, Professor Anil Sahasrabuddhe, Professor Nikhil Pal, my colleague Professor Bhattacharya, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's one of those days when the fall semester, we're kicking off our conference schedule. So we got the computing conference now. Next week we have the electronics department's power electronics. Hey guys, you can't walk out like this. Just sit down, yeah. Don't be rude. Sit down. How can you be so rude here? We have the Power Electronics Conference, and then next month we have our School of Management's Indo-German Conference, and then ending off with the Machine Learning and Data Science Conference in December. I think this is what sets this semester apart, that we're into heavy research and technical area discussions. Lots of visitors coming in from outside. I see Simon C., etc., our usual visitors to Mahindra, well-wishers, and this is what I think makes life better. This is actually an opportune moment for our students to catch up with the experts and discuss with them and see what can be done over the next coming few years, especially the postgraduate and PhD students. I think we have a lot of dignitaries around today, tomorrow, and I do hope that faculty, students will actually make use of this opportunity to link up to see what additional research areas you can get into and what you can work together, So we look forward to intense discussions. I by myself, I'm not a computer science, but even then, I'm going to sit down and listen to a few talks. But I always keep saying, as a vice chancellor, I get sandwiched between the organizers and the main speakers. So it doesn't mean that I have to talk too long. So once again, welcome to our dignitaries, and look forward to a very exciting 2 more days of this conference. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Professor, for addressing the gathering. We are honored to have the presence of Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe as guest of honor for today's conference. Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe did his BE in Mechanical Engineering from Karnataka University, securing first rank and a gold medal, and he did his master's and PhD both from the Indian Institute of Sciences, Bangalore. He had brief stints of working as scientific officer in IISc and engineering trainee in Tata Consultancy before starting his teaching career. So I request Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe to address the audience.
Namaskar. Very good morning to all of you. We are here in the inaugural session of the 3rd International Conference on Emerging Techniques in Computational Intelligence, jointly organized by Mahindra University and IEEE Computational Intelligence Society. I'm indeed very pleased to be here. On the dais, we have the most respected chief guest of today's function, Dr. Kota Harinarayana. We are all aware that he is an architect of the Tejas program. Our respects for you, sir, for being the chief guest for this very important program. We have Dr. Yajulu Meduri, the Vice Chancellor of the Mahindra University, Dr. Nikhil Paul from ISI Kolkata, who is going to have a keynote address on computational intelligence, Dr. Arya Bhattacharya, Dean Research and Development, who is my friend also from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore days, many eminent experts, other deans, professors, and delegates. I think it's a very important conference, the 3rd of its kind, being held here in Mahindra University. So I was not from this field, neither from AI, nor from machine learning, nor from deep learning, not even from computer science, nor electronics, but from the discipline of mechanical engineering. But having got invited as a guest of honor, I had to speak a little bit on this topic, but I'm going to take this opportunity also to talk about a few other issues which the government of India is doing, and somehow some of these things are again interlinked with AI and machine learning. So I'm going to connect them too. And also the process of accreditation, ranking, which government of India has started in a big way for the last 8 years. Well, as a layman, I myself was trying to grapple what is AI. It was during my PhD days, my guide, one of the co-guides, said that whatever research you have done in silencer design, you must put into place all that theory into a form of an AI. I'm talking about 1980s. And that is the time when AI was already in existence. It's not that it's a new topic field. I said, I have to put in some more effort, but I have got a job, I have to leave, so I didn't do much about it. But nevertheless, we all are aware that what is AI all about? We say it is an intelligence of the machines. The machines are becoming more and more intelligent. But one of the things which revolutionized and people came to know and grappled with the truth of AI was when the Deep Blue was invented, and then it played chess game with none other than the Grandmaster Kasparov and defeated in the year 1997. And that is where the power of AI, the power of machines, was realized. And today we have crossed 97 to 23, so well 26 years down the line. Today we all talk about OpenAI, ChatGPT, and many a times, many worries are expressed by academicians that in the examination system, whether this ChatGPT will be a challenge. What will the students be submitting their assignments? How do they do it? Do they have got understanding of that, or they are simply copy-pasting and then producing it? I think these are the questions being raised in the academic circles. But nevertheless, if you look into what is exactly intelligence itself in the first place, we talk about some girl called Radha, is very intelligent, we'll say. Or some student like Manohar is extremely brilliant or intelligent. What is this all intelligence all about? Each one of us have our own perception about intelligence. Some people will think that a lot of information storage in the brain, which a student is able to do it, is intelligence. He is very intelligent, means he can remember, he can store all the information that goes through him into his brain. It is a storage. But the more important thing is, there may be storage, but is he able to recollect it at the right time when it is required? Otherwise, many a times we know the faces that we have seen some time ago, but we don't recollect the names. That happens quite often with me, and it must be happening with many others. We would have seen a road, we would have seen a house traveling to that place, but many times we again miss out that road, and then we try to recollect. That is how the memory recall things and happen. The third part is that of not only recalling, but based on all that information which is stored, are we able to analyze that data? Are we able to synthesize all that information that is available? And using all of that information or the data, are we able to do some critical analysis about various issues, problems, whether it is at the individual level of taking decisions? Maybe should I go for a course in computer science, or should I take a course in AI, or should I go for a biology course? This is also a decision to be taken by an individual. Sometimes there are others who pitch in, like parents and guardians or friends, and they will also give some input. And that becomes more confusing. And how do you react to that, and then how do you make your decision making? That is very important. And then as far as at the national level we are concerned, based on all the information and data available, how can we create innovative and creative solutions? Those who are able to do that, they are considered to be intelligent people. And that's what we see in multinational companies making a lot of money through the use of the not only information, analyzing it critically and making solutions which are useful to society, and thereby making money out of that. I think, therefore, the intelligence is to be seen in various perspectives, and that is what in the common parlance we make use of. But when it comes to artificial intelligence, what all machines can do based on all of this is what we are likely to do. But I would like to connect this intelligence with that of the intelligence of the life that is their life form, that is right from cellular level. We all know that at cell level, in every person's body, there are actions taking place which are maybe production of energy itself. Mitochondria will be doing some job. There will be some connectivity. If there are some neighboring cells which are disturbing, how do they react to that? There are cancer cells which will come in, and how do you take care of them? I think at absolutely granular level, at cell level also, there is some intelligence existing. Way back, probably, we never realized, but in our ancient Indian philosophy, Bharatiya philosophy, we always respected that every individual is divine. And that's what Swami Vivekananda had said. Every individual born is divine. But it's only the perfection which is already in man is to be brought out. And that is the role of the teachers. And that's what we are talking about at the cellular level also. Each cell is divine in its own sense. And when you go to the other living creatures or organisms, before that even think about plants, when Dr. Bose suggested that the plants have feelings, they have life, they have similar things like emotions. But that time people didn't realize. Today the research has proved that all living species have all characters that we see in human beings, right from emotions of love, empathy, feelings of anger, all of that is embedded in even plants. And also in all variety of species, right from maybe virus and bacteria, they may like someone and then attack him or her, and for someone else, they don't probably. Maybe because of the high immunity that they have, or maybe they feel that this person should be left out. Because we saw in the pandemic COVID times, not all citizens got affected, although we were living together. And I have my own personal experience that by staying and sitting close by with many people with COVID positive, I didn't get it. But maybe, possibly, it was a milder version and the immunity took over. But I think these are all things which are, which are beyond our sometimes imagination. And starting from, as I said, animals to the highest species, humans, that is Homo sapiens, intelligence has been increasingly increasing, and that's why we say that humans are the most intelligent species on this earth. But most of the intelligence is used in the form of what we call stimulus and response. So without stimuli, normally there are no responses. Very few people have responses without stimuli. Otherwise, we say Newton's third law, which is action and reaction are equal and opposite. So if you are tempted to do something forcefully, you react to that. It's there not only in terms of forces that act on a body, but also in human society, we observe if there is a compulsion made by the government that you must do this, there is a reaction from the public at large many times. So how do you take them together? These are all possibilities and very interesting fields in terms of the responses or actions based on the stimuli. But most important features of the human society for millions of years, since the nomadic nature to today the developed world, we all are tempted by our five senses. We get hunger, we have taste, we have five senses. But sometimes we also talk about sixth sense, the intuition. And some of the decision making is based on intuitions. And therefore, when we look at our human society, be it hunger, the fear, the security concerns, our love or affection that we show, the help, values, all of these are human values which are embedded in all human societies everywhere in the world, no matter which planet we are talking about is Earth as a planet, but if there was life elsewhere, maybe there also. So I think this is where we have to now start thinking about how do we look at all these aspects which are human in nature with that of the intelligence that can be taken forward by the machines. And some of the other issues which immediately bring to our notice is the originality. How do we think originally? All these sessions which are going to be there are based on some of these aspects. How AI can be creative. Can it be creative? Because we say humans are creative. Can this AI and machine learning produce creative results? Can we talk about today world peace, which humans are fighting each other? Forget Ukraine and Russia, but many places there are civilizational conflicts. There are issues within societies. But how peace can be brought in? Peace is one of those very important things for human society to survive. And can AI machine learning help us in this domain as well? Meditation helps, we say that in terms of keeping our mind peaceful and happy. Can AI machine learning also help us into deep delve into that and then get into some of those aspects? I think there are many questions. There are no answers today, but I'm sure a conference of this nature, which is on computational intelligence, will look into a variety of aspects and then try to find out solutions for all of this. Now, many a times people say that when humans are the intelligent creatures, and they are the ones who have created all this AI, machine learning, computers, robotics, drones, etc., then why you require AI, machine learning, deep learning? is a very relevant question, but the very fact that the effect is the huge computational power in terms of the, the speed, the accuracy with which the computers can do, and then repeatability, which the computational science can offer. I think why should we not make use of it? There may be certainly certain boundaries. Many a times we are talking about use of AI ethically. This term is often being talked about, ethical use of AI and machine learning. But before getting into ethical nature of that, of course, we have to create our human beings who are value-based. Otherwise, sometimes some vardhan is given by the god, and that creates a Mahishasura, and you require Mohini to kill such Mahishasuras. And therefore, we may also require not only AI and these robots and also drones, if they are trying to kill some civilizational, some location, there must be anti-drones which are active and they may be able to do the job. Therefore, how this intelligence is going to be utilized ethically based on morals and values is going to be a very significant question. And this is going to be debated more and more in the coming years till we find a reasonable solution. There could also be regulations framed by the governments. Already, United Nations has got a ethical use of AI. There is a committee which gave ethical use of AI. All countries may have their own legislations through their parliaments in order to make use of that. We have seen pluses and minuses, the advent of the nuclear age. We can use the same nuclear power for power generation on one side, a lot of applications in medicine, but at the same time, by creating a nuclear bomb, hydrogen bomb, entire civilization can be wiped off. And therefore, the utilization of AI, ML, DL is also very, very significant in terms of the kind of applications that we want to use. But there are many applications which are in vogue today, and some of them are being used by the governments of the day. We are all aware of them. One of the most prominent one in a country like ours, and also in the whole world, is in terms of translations. Because there are thousands of languages. In our own country, there are recognized 22 official languages constitutionally. But if you get into each state, there is a different vocabulary, different context, and different types of languages that are used. And if you go into the tribal areas, maybe in Arunachal, Nagaland, each one of those very small states with hardly 1 million population has hundreds of languages that are spoken. And how do you communicate with each other? They are independently developed, and therefore we need some kind of a tool to develop commonality and the possibility of translation from one language into the other. And therefore, one of the powerful uses of AI, ML is in terms of translations, to understand what I'm speaking. I'm speaking in English, but all the audience here may not understand English. Suppose that if someone wants to know it in Telugu, how it can be straight away while I'm speaking in English, it goes. We have translators in United Nations, in Parliament, who do physical translation. But today, through the use of machine, we must be in a position to do it instantaneously and give the input to the individual who is interested in learning. And also, how do we communicate? One speaks in Tamil, and I can answer in Telugu, and still they can converse with each other, and that is the power of the computing, and therefore, we must make use of AI, ML in such respects. Very important, it's not just the text, it is not just the audio, not video, but also the books. And I'm very happy here to announce that the Government of India, MIT, had started a project, and the language translation, many of the institutions are associated with that, called Bhashini. But independently, in AICT, one small group, making use of talent of our youngsters. They are all undergraduate, second year, third year students. Most of them came for internship and developed a tool called Anuvadini. And this Anuvadini instantaneously not only translates into different languages, but this AI-based tool also has very interesting feature of converting a book, a PDF file of a book, which is in colors, in different fonts, containing different pictures, graphs, all of that converted into another language within about 5 minutes. That means a book on Python programming in English with a lot of tables, figures, graphs, pictures, and also you have fonts which are of different sizes. Title is different, other font is different, getting converted in 10 minutes into another language such as Telugu, Marathi, Kannada, Tamil in 10 minutes, including the location of the figure and picture and all the inside data of that graph being reflected in that language is an amazing tool that has been developed. And this is all power of AI, power of the computational methods that are available today. And then comes the data analysis and data interpretation. There is a lot of easy search. We all know we started with Google, and many times if something is not known, we quite often tell in the class, Google and find out, something like this. And there are many such possible tools. Today we have ChatGPT and OpenAI, which is also supporting and helping. But most important thing is, how do you interpret this data which is available? That is where we made use of during COVID crisis. Which area is getting infected faster than the others, therefore which areas to be isolated, and this kind of solutions, in which area, what kind of medicine is immediately required to be supplied. I think all of this is feasible, possible, only because of the power of the computational techniques that are available to us. And then there are a variety of variants. It is not just in the healthcare sector, which is very, very important that the AI machine learning is going to be useful, but also in the economy. How does share market go up and down? You predict it and then do analytics, take precautionary measures, and also in education. We have a very interesting tool, which I will refer to later also, is in education, all learners are not same. There are different ways of learning, and today we know about 6-7 methods of learning, which is often talked about in education. That is teaching learning in a classroom environment through the use of tutorials. We talk about experiential learning. We say people can actually go and conduct an experiment, and they can go into the society, live in industry, and find out how exactly things are happening. And based on all of that, learning takes place. But in the ancient scriptures, there are 31 methods of learning, and each student learns in a different way. Can we develop some kind of a tool to identify what type of learner a particular student is in a classroom? In a class of 50 or 60, not all are of the same type, and therefore, how do you tweak your lectures in a manner that every student is also made to learn the same as that of the other? And the end outcome, which we do in accreditation, I'm going to speak about accreditation as well as some time. So how outcome of the entire class is going to be near same based on all these kind of techniques which are available to us at this day. I think these are all very interesting phenomena. In agriculture also, we have different types of crops. Different times we need to use insecticides. What was the past? How did we take care of it in the previous regime? In the case of challenges like earthquakes, floods, also AI will be of very great use. Transportation systems are getting developed, which are faster and faster. How we interact, how the traffic can be controlled much better, so that traveling from one place to the other place, especially in metros, today is a challenge. And we don't talk about distance in terms of kilometers, but we talk about distance in terms of minutes. It's a 40-minute time, 50-minute time. If you are traveling in the morning, it is so much. If it is afternoon, so much. In the late night, it will be as less as this. This is how we talk about it. And how all this information can be utilized through AI. Now, some of these government initiatives which are directly or indirectly linked with AI, I'm just going to mention in a fast track. Smart India Hackathon was one of those initiatives started about 5 years ago. 6th edition is now ongoing. And each time, very challenging assignments are given to students, and they come out with brilliant out-of-the-box solutions, which even industry has not thought about. So there is a lot of talent amongst our youngsters, but we had not tapped that resource. And now is the time when we have started tapping. I was given to understand yesterday when I was coming from the airport that there was a very interesting hackathon, and this university got the 3rd place in the hackathon. I think hackathons are the ones where a lot of problem-solving ability of students is tested to the core. And the problems were of variety of nature, where AI is indirectly, directly, efficiently used. For example, in a conference like this, where there are about 500 audience, how many of them are attentive? If you take a scanned picture and look at their faces, their eyes, eyelids, we will know how many of them are active. And this was a solution which was given by India-Singapore joint hackathon in IIT Madras. And when Prime Minister was told this during the inaugural address, he said it is not only useful in the class whether the students are attentive or not, but even in the parliament whether parliamentarians are attentive or not. I think, therefore, the solutions of this nature are very interesting problem-solving things which students are doing. Very important from a security aspect. We all know today that there is Digi Yatra, and you don't have to even show your identity card, you don't have to show your boarding pass. You just go into that line in 8 airports now, and slowly it will be there in all airports. You just walk away, inside. How easy it has become, and therefore, this is all based on image processing, AI. Unless these technologies were available, we wouldn't have probably been able to use them. And so there is huge benefit that is there. And we all know about digital transactions, UPI, through which anyone can anywhere transact very easily, all thanks to the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So thanks to this domain, we are all laymen. We will try to understand more and more as sessions progress. We had an internship portal, where students who are interested in internship were posting their requirements. Industry was also giving their requirements. And we developed an AI-based tool where interest of the student in terms of the domain where a student is interested, location where he is interested or she is interested, whether stipend he wants or not wants, all of that is matched, and result will go to the industry, and they will select out of them whoever they want to select for the internship. So I think AI is useful even in providing right quality internship. Tomorrow for the jobs, an industry may float the requirement based on the CV. I will come to one of the very interesting projects we are undertaking, which is next, which is called as the unique ID for all students, automated permanent academic account registry. It has already been formed, linked with academic bank of credits of the students, thereby any student doing credits not only from their own institution, but from any other source, be it another university or college, or through the Swayam platform, which is an open MOOC platform of India. If the course is done, the credits earned, maybe 3 credits, 4 credits, 2 credits, along with the grade secured, gets resided in the academic bank of credits, which can be encashed. Like a bank account, you have credit account, and like you encash using ATM card, you can use your APAR ID and can encash it in your university or somewhere else, wherever it is required, even for the creation of your job profile, your CV. I think this is all authenticated, and therefore you don't have to carry your original certificates, no fear of losing your original certificates or them getting distorted or something like that. This is a routine way of checking the reliable certification of the students through APAR ID. EduTech companies can offer some of those courses like Microsoft and Google have. That also can reside as a certificate here, and that is validated through use of blockchain technology. And most importantly, a student may be interested in discovery of what more he wants to learn or she wants to learn. And all of this information automatically pops up based on the interest shown by the student, and then make use of it for selecting the course of study or future career that one wants to develop, reskilling, upskilling, all of that becomes very important in the IDs that are generated through this. It is also useful in scholarship. We all know that now today direct beneficiary transfer through UDI-based, Aadhaar-based scholarship dispersal. Tomorrow, through the use of this APAR ID, one can also use for transfers. I transfer from, my parents got transferred, therefore I have to leave this city and go to some other city. Then you have to go and hunt for transfer certificate in a college. take NOC certificates from all the departments. Many times that person is not available, you run around. So all of that is now of the past. So you will get automatically transfer certificate, get into another institution. They will not ask you any information except the ID, and through the ID, through APIs, they can draw this information and then give you admission wherever it is required. I think life is going to be much more easier, smoother. We say ease of doing business in business. Here it is ease of doing business in education. Is all possible because of the AI, which is being used very often. Now, study in India is another feature. I hope Mahindra University also must be getting some of the foreign students to study here in many institutes in India. Their life is also miserable. They have to, first of all, don't know which are the good universities and colleges. And then they have to hunt for the correct information. Then they have to make multiple applications, which our students also do when they want to apply for abroad in US or UK or any university. Each university has a separate application. You have to pay for money each time. 10,000 rupees are lost actually. And what we have done for getting foreign students to India is a single stop solution, one single portal, where discovery of institutions based on the choice of the interest of the subject of the student. If he says mechanical engineering, all good institutes of mechanical engineering, high-ranked, accredited institutions will pop up. Student can see their website, select a set of institutions, click on those institutions. You don't, or she does not require to give separate application. Automatically, this goes to those institutions' coordinating officers. They will do their due diligence and offer admissions. The institutions who offer admissions automatically get uploaded onto the dashboard of the student. Student will know within no time how many institutions have offered admission. He will select or she will select an institution. That will go to the visa processing officer in the country of his origin or her origin. Visa processing becomes easy. And once the student travels and comes and joins, the coordinating officer or compliance officer takes care of the future journey of the student, including the credits earned, all other things, including the FRRO registration, which is a challenge for foreign students. If they don't do it within 15 days, the cops will be behind them, both from the security of the nation and security of the individual. And therefore, FRRO registration, everything at one-stop solution is being offered through this. The last but not the least, very interesting solution is One Nation, One Data, which is on the cards. We all know that all colleges, universities are required to give data multiple times in a year to an accrediting agency, to a regulatory agency, for rankings, for many other issues, for getting some funds. And these data is 80 to 90% same. But still, each organization asks the data in different times. And many times there is no data integrity, and this One Nation, One Data platform will ask information to be given only once in a year. It is going to be, very interestingly, using AI tools, going to be validated by peer sourcing, getting to know the truth, credibility of the organization giving the data, credibility of the individuals who are certifying the data. It will go up and down depending on how the things move forward and backward. And based on that, over a period of time, the single source of truth from every institution will arrive, and other institutions, whoever require this information, just simply can draw it through APIs rather than asking them to fill again and again. So a very low-cost, high-trust system is being evolved. Now, I'm not going to deal with all of this because this is an expertise domain. I'm just listing out. There are different types of AIs which have come into existence, explainable AIs, XAIs, where just AI does not give solution, but also will tell you the reasoning behind that. And unless we know the reasoning, we will not be probably believing in that. And that's why this is also very important. Federated learning, there are different sources of truth available in different locations. How without collecting the data in single place by doing a federalism kind of a structure, you look at all of that and then make use of it, especially in domains like medical, or my own certificates. I don't want to show them to some of them, but some others I don't want to show them. My medical health record, I don't want to show it to everyone because there is sometimes privacy involved into that, and therefore such kind of things can be used through federated learning. Meta-learning is the training models where a tool is given multiple tasks. If it learns 3 tasks, 4th task learning becomes easier. And that is the philosophy. That's how humans are doing it. We learn some sport, similar sport we can learn very easily. If you are already a good cricket player, baseball player becomes easier actually, and something similar to that. I'm sure that there are also evolutionary algorithms which are inspired by natural evolution, which are biologically related. Genetic algorithm, genetic programming, which is available today, can be made use of in the AI or evolutionary algorithm. Neuroevolution, today morning talk also talked about some of the neural networks, fuzzy logic, how do you give the weights, and how that architecture can help in getting the solution faster. Gaussian processes, which are probabilistic model, that was also discussed in the morning. How confident we are in terms of the results or outcome, in what band of truthfulness the result has come. AI will be able to give all of this information. Then there are adversarial machine learning processes, because since all this is dependent on data which is available on different platforms, and we are trying to pull out all that data. And therefore, there may be people who will be motivated to cheat the system, and therefore will give wrong information, and probably the machine may get cheated and will go by that and thinking that this is the truth. And how we can take care of such cases in order to understand fake, we are all aware of the fake news which is promoted in WhatsApp universities today. So which is right, which is wrong, how can we predict it, which is trying to give fake information. I think these are very great challenges which are to be addressed. Then quantum computing is already there, so quantum machine learning. Then swarm intelligence is very important. Most of the animals, they behave in herd. We call it as herd mentality, but many times it is positive. Please remember when there was a storm, big storm, and the entire the coastline was affected. There were animals in Andaman Nicobar. They came to know early enough through the low frequency sounds, and they ran to the mountains and then survived. Whereas the humans who did not have that intelligence, although we talk about the highest intelligence is with humans, and therefore sometimes swarm intelligence is also helpful, and how do we make use of that. And then casual inferences in terms of cause and effect relationship, which is all quite common in all scientific investigation, can be made use of. Now, a couple of words on accreditation, because when I came here, some of the faculty asked about accreditation of the institutions, very important. We have several things which we should look at together. NAAC is National Assessment and Accreditation Council, does accreditation of the institute as a whole, college or university. National Board of Accreditation does accreditation of programs, and it is a signatory of the Washington Accord, and therefore any program which is accredited is considered nearly equivalent in all the countries which are signatory to Washington Accord. So today there are 23 full-time Washington Accord signatory countries, 7 provisional, and other 5-6 in the pipeline. So if an institution has got its engineering program accredited by NBA, in all those countries, you don't have to take another test for practicing that particular profession. And many students who have gone from non-accredited institutions of late are facing problems, especially in the Middle East countries. And therefore, it is in my opinion, all institutions should go for accreditation of their programs so that their students do not get affected when they go out for jobs. Then we have our own indigenously developed national institutional ranking framework. I will not get into details. Your university also must be attempting to get into the top ranks within top 100, then getting into top 50s and so on. And when this competition is developed, we will also get ranking in QS and Times Higher Education ranking. I'm very happy that 8 years back when NIRF started, hardly 6-7 institutions were appearing in the top QS and Times Higher Education ranking. Today there are 45 institutions in QS ranking, 75 institutions in the Times Higher Education ranking appearing. So that is a spin-off benefit of NIRF. And then accreditation criteria are very important. It's a self-assessment report. It is very important that IQAC cell is there in every institution, has to look into the quality processes, whether they are being implemented or not. And this is where, again, we can make use of AI. all the previous information, if it is there. Last time, based on this question paper, students learning in a particular subject, in particular unit or topic was not up to the mark. That means teaching learning process in that particular topic needs to be improved. And this is how we can get a lot of data informatics, which can be made use of in the process of accreditation and creating the right outcomes. These are the 12 graduate attributes, starting from engineering knowledge to problem analysis, complex problem solutions, design and development of solutions. Dr. Kota Harinarayana was saying that systems engineering is very important. You know, when we were just about to come to the dais, I think that is very important. If you have to solve the complex problems, it is only the systems engineering which can do that job. It's not in isolated way. If you study only one subject and don't have the relationship with others and the system as a whole, we will not be able to solve the problem. I think that's very, very important. And last but not the least, engineer and society, ethics, concern for environment, all of these issues are there listed here, but how we can make use of all of this along with AI machine learning to develop them further and try to achieve excellence year after year, better than last year, better and better than last year, and so on. And that is what it is. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Your years of experience, your depth of understanding, and your ability to present the subject in such an interesting way made really our day. Thank you, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe. I request our Vice Chancellor, Professor Meduri, to come over to the dais and felicitate our guest of honor with small token of appreciation. Thank you, Professor Meduri. Thank you, Professor Anil. I now again request Professor Arya to come over and introduce our today's chief guest, Dr. Kota Harinarayana.
So Professor Kota is my mentor for many, many years. So I requested my colleague Prafulla to give me the opportunity to introduce him. So actually, I have worked with him for about 7 years, full-time, in Aeronautical Development Agency. And in fact, I have many interesting anecdotes to talk about, but since we are running short of time, I thought I'll just focus on the formalities. So Dr. Kota actually did his BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IIT BHU. That time it was IT BHU, I think. And then he did his master's in Aerospace Engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. And then he did his PhD also in Aerospace Engineering from IIT Bombay. And after that, he actually worked for about 10 to 15 years in various organizations related to accreditation and design of aircraft. And then after that, he became full-time Director General of Aeronautical Development Agency. So he was the DG of ADA for about 15 years. In that period of about half the period, I worked with him. And after that, he has been the VC of Vice Chancellor of University of Hyderabad. And as we know today, University of Hyderabad is one of the top universities in the country. He's also the chairman of the Board of Governors of IIT BHU. And he's also driving systems engineering efforts throughout the country. Now, having said this, I would just like to add a few things here. You see, when he was when we started off on the light combat aircraft program in the middle 80s, at that time there were only 4 countries in the world which had, which were able to design a full aircraft right from scratch. And so these were USA, USSR, at that time UK and France. And of course, USSR was that time. Today it is Russia and Ukraine both, actually. And now Germany was there before the Second World War, but after that it was no longer there. China was trying very hard to design an aircraft fully, but it could not at that point in time. So when we started, we had very few full-time aircraft designers. We did not have the experimental facilities, did not have the computational facilities. We didn't have the know-how of all the various aspects of a full, complete aircraft. And from there, in about 15 years, we brought about the LCAs, the first flight, the light combat aircraft. And since then, today, actually, when we started off, it took us longer than expected. And in fact, we faced a lot of opprobrium. So Professor Dr. Kota, he quietly handled all of that. He handled all the criticism, all the opprobrium, didn't deviate from the objectives. And today we have the LCA, of course, its future variants, downstream variants, as the kind of, you can say, backbone of our Indian Air Force. So that is the contribution of Professor Kota to the country, among many others.
Thank you.
So, Professor, would you like to sit down and speak? Would you like to sit down and speak? Or
No.
That's fine.
Okay, I can operate. No? Thank you, Professor Arya, for a nice introduction. I'm happy to meet the Vice Chancellor. And I'm also very happy to see Arun Pujari. After a long time, we were colleagues in the University of Hyderabad. And Shastri Buddhe, I met him after a long time. He's from IIT Bombay and all. And Bhattacharya I'm seeing. And also I'm happy to meet Simon Lee yesterday. And it was good to see a man who has been in the AI field for a long time. When Arya asked me to give a talk in such an audience, so I was wondering, because as Shastri Buddha has presented already all the good things about and also some of the problems and all, so I felt the best thing I can do is, I'm a practicing engineer. I believe in designing, developing, all that kind of things. So I'm just looking at, I thought I will share with you 4 areas quickly where the AI has been, AI, ML, DL, all of them, primarily ML and DL has been used very effectively. And that is something I feel will be useful to the students here and the practicing faculty also. So that's what I want to do here. So I think I have roughly about 30 minutes. Am I right, Arya? You are the boss. You have to tell me. Huh? Okay. So let me see how quickly I can go through. And beautiful introduction has been given by Professor Shastri Buddhe. But I want to add only one slide to... let me see if I can operate. Just one slide, so that you know all that he has told. Because I want you to look at one important point. As engineers, we are used to rules, traditional approach, data. I get data for design and all. Now, I have data, I have AI approach, rules, and predict new data. Okay? This is the thing. There can be a combination of things, but this is fundamentally the thing. And of course, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all of you are quite familiar. I do not want to spend any more time on that one. But this is the way engineers do the data. But the biggest problem is not always data is available. How do you handle that? As I go further, I will also address this problem. Where do you get the data? Okay? That is what is important. There are certain disciplines where data is available in huge quantity. But there are certain disciplines where data is not available, especially newcomers who want to design an aircraft. How do you get the data? It's not so easy to get. Then how do you do? Maybe in a hybrid approach, what we need to use. Now, like all good people who, when they want to start anything today in AI, they go to ChatGPT. So I also went there. And it said, these are the areas where you can use, you'll design. Okay, it hardly takes any time. But I felt it is good, very well presented and all. So what I have identified is 4 areas I'm going to talk about it. The last one, AI in agricultural aviation, it is not a design, but application of an unmanned vehicle for this one, which is very critical, very important. And 5 years back, I got involved into that. And I thought the best way you can do a job is to make a startup. So I joined with a couple of my young friends, and we had a startup, and we at Indian Institute of Science, and we thought the best way we can serve the society is develop a drone for agriculture, for precision agriculture. So what I'm talking now is talking not theory, actual practically experiencing. 2 years back, I thought a person like me should not continue with the startup. I left that, okay? I'm back to, again, other ventures and all that kind of a thing. But that's why I will start with an application of AI and agricultural aviation, okay? I'm an aviation man. See, I want to start with this overview of Indian agriculture. I have put here 17%, but today, the GDP from agriculture is 15%. It's no longer 17. It has come down to 15. 50% of India's manpower is used in agriculture. 22% electric consumption, 29% during the peak, and 80% of the water we are using for agriculture. You can see the enormity of the situation. Let's see the next one. I'm not comparing not with Israel and all those fellows. I'm comparing with China. Okay? You could clearly see I've listed about 4 of these, things which we are all familiar. Soybean, sugar, maize, rice, and all that. The amount of our crop yield, much, much lower. And our water consumption is quite high, very high. We are consuming so much of water. And I also want to see the kind of problems we have. About 10 years back to about 2 years back, what I'm seeing, you are seeing areas where, look at the Tamil Nadu, in 10 years, underground water has come down by 81%. And there are areas where it has come down by 92%. You can imagine the kind of scenario where we are. Whether you like it or not, there is no more water available. So this is a serious situation, extremely serious situation, which all of us must understand. So what are the issues we have? Scarcity of water, low crop yield, inadequate crop quality, excess application of water, fertilizer, pesticides, and rapid changes in weather and environment. Today, I doubt whether anybody can predict weather today. We in the best of the computing, best of AI, best of the things, everything like a global. Olden days, so I was a young student. We had a joke about the prediction about the weather. It was about a true story in Germany. They were predicting weather, telling this what all they will predict. Okay, there is a amateur, weather prediction person. He was 5% correct, and the official fellow was 5% correct. Okay, so the government asked him, why don't you come and join us so that we will become 95? He never joined. He never joined, and he became old. People asked, what is your secret? He said, I had a friend in equivalent of AMD. He will tell me the previous day what was his prediction. I will tell the opposite. So he said, if I join government, how will I do? So you can imagine how inaccurate prediction is. Okay, but things have improved now, better, far better, far better. Not as bad as that one. But that is a situation. If you and I used to hear stories being told that it may rain, may not rain. Then what is left? So things are better now. We have a better prediction and all. In precision agriculture, the key points I want you to eat, the precision agriculture is the answer to that. Because we can reduce water consumption by 90%, pesticides by 90%, improve the productivity at least 3 times. So this is an extraordinarily beneficial thing. And what the precision agriculture does is, it prepares the land for farming, equally fertile vegetation across, monitors plantation during this in-season growth, and important, it detects early onset of pests and diseases. Okay, what are the tools? The tools are remote sensing, use of a geographical information system, global positioning system, and the last, image processing determines soil nutrient, early detection of diseases, application farm inputs like this. So this imaging and using AI, MLDL, for identifying early detection of diseases, pesticides, diseases, and also deficiency of water. These are the things which AI does. So you can see that there are two important technologies. That's what I want to do. So in this precision agriculture, you can see, I said real-time, predictive analytics, and drones are used for this purpose. And AI, ML, DL are the technologies we use to do that. I don't want to spend too much time, but I want to do this. Predictive analytics is a key element of precision agriculture. So two things are here. Technologies for remote sensing, you need to have sensor. Then only you will get the data. Artificial intelligence for data analytics, and these are the two key things that were there. What were them? People have been using precision agriculture for a long time. I just want you to see that we have been, people world over were using satellite-based, then aircraft-based remote sensing, then UI-based remote sensing. Okay, these are the three things. The problem of what you call satellite aircraft is, satellite, by the time the data comes to the ground and the organization like ISRO analyzes, then it comes to the farmer, it will take 15 days. By the time, if there is a disease, it has already overtaken the flower. That's all the time that is required. That was the problem. Okay, so it is not even near real time. It is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's of no use. Aircraft, you can do a little faster, but aircraft too expensive. How do I do something so expensive? Poor farmers cannot achieve. Even the government is not able to afford it. So that was not a viable. It may be viable in US and all, where they have 10,000 acres of land, they can call for, not so. The answer is unmanned air vehicle, a drone, which can handle the job in near real time. Okay, we will be able to do. So that is the now technology, but drone can only sense, but analyze the data, come out whether there is a problem with the nutrition, there is a problem with water, or there is a disease. That is where the MLDL is going to do. I will give a couple of examples. So image processing is not new. I think when I joined the University of Hyderabad long back, before Christ, I think almost 15 years back, 18 years back, you had I think a center for IR, okay? AI, you have center for AI. But I was never seeing any student around. Okay, I think the faculty was running around to catch hold of students. But now things have totally changed. AI has changed altogether. You have a course on AI, MTech, BTech and all. I'm very happy about that. So these are the processes which have been there, but very slow, very costly, very time consuming. Okay, that is the problem. So you may, with the advent of AI, especially with what you call ML and then DL, things have totally changed. And the fellow who has done along with that is the drone. Drones are very cheap, okay? I'm telling from personal experience what used to cost at crores. I have today a drone which costs about 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs. I can do the job, okay? And the sensors also have become extremely cheap. So this is the fellow who will detect the crop health problems. There was a few years back, there was an experiment, actually, a calibrate experiment in Sri Lanka, where near IR plus RGB camera when they use, it was able to detect 10 days before the actual thing, which with the eyes, with RGB camera you can do. 10 days is more than sufficient to save the crop. That is what is important. This is what will happen. And this is the experiment which was done in the plantation, what you call coconut plantation. The funding was done by the Coconut Research Institute about, it's old, okay, that Neelam Sinha from IIIT and General Aeronautics, what I was telling my company, along with what you call CPCRI, it's a 100-year-old plantation research institute. We joined hands, 96% accuracy, you are able to detect what are the problems. Until then, what you call a coconut plant is so big, and who will go and check? Okay, you are only checking after the disease has occurred. This is what has happened. This is about 3 years old. It is a fantastic. Now, the same team is now done work with maize, with rice, with wheat, and many other things. So that the technology has come to a stage where you are able to detect in near real time and do the job. And things are now, what I have been told by my colleagues is, it is, if you, it is like employing people for doing the, what you call putting water or what you call pesticides, whatever it cost comes, this is same cost. And you are able to get twice the productivity. That is what is important. This is what I want you to see. See, hyperspectral cameras and all are extremely expensive. But what you can do is use an RGB. I think Professor Santanu Chaudhary, IIT, Jodhpur, he is now in IIT. Okay? You can now do the job which a hyperspectral doing with an RGB camera. I thought this is something interest to everybody. Okay? If you, this is what it does. Here is the problem and the delivery of a simple cost-effective system. Extremely cost-effective. You will bring down the cost to 1/10 to 1/20th or even more than that. So this is the simple methodology he has followed, which is a pretty good one. And RGB camera, even if I add a near-infrared camera, it costs something like 1/100th of a hyperspectral camera. And it is cheap enough to be used for a farmer and everybody else. So this is one important technology I thought all of the colleagues here should know. Second thing is, when I was the Vice Chancellor University of Hyderabad, we had an NGO near Ibrahimpatnam, somewhere near that, about 10 kilometers away. Biggest problem the farmers used to tell us was how to know that the seed is good quality or not. And quite a bit of mixture used to be there. And here is the technology where, using the same technique with the new technique, they were able to detect from new to old to seeds. And this is where, when he was in what you call Center for Electronic Engineering Research Institute, CSR lab, they were able to do. I thought this is something which will help the farmers easily using the right seed. Today, in those days, he was not able to know until the whole thing is lost, the whole crop is lost. So this is something very important, I thought. And today, especially today when you have mango or orange or anything, you want to know how much my yield is and how ripe it is. Can I pluck it out? Today, Professor Onkar from ISC, they have done a good job, and they are able to find, using the techniques, precisely how much crop is there, how much of that is what you call ripe, how much I can remove. It is all done, okay? Using simple drones and your MLDL techniques. So this is basically what it does, okay? Input image, conversion net, semantic output, and you get the output. In near real time, we are able to get. This is what I thought is important to you. And this is the total visualization of proposal method. Has been tried number of times, not only for mango, tried for what you call other crops also, and the results are pretty good. So why? My natural question all of us is, I think today the algorithmic advances, data proliferation, and increase in computing power and storage. I think Professor Shastri, they made a statement about storage and I think that today, and the costs have come down to such a level, today from hype it became a reality. Today it is a reality, and I'm happy in a country like India, where agriculture is still 50% of manpower is used. This is a boon, and this boon will come when we combine three what you call specializations. One is to understand agriculture, okay, specially. Second is computing, the AI group there, and when you combine these two people and the drone people. Why I mention this is, a university must bring three disciplines together to make it effective. There's hardly a area where you work on a single discipline. You have to bring 3-4 disciplines. And this is a concrete example where drone people and your computational intelligence people plus the agricultural knowledge. That knowledge is important. If you do that, you can make wonders in this country and the world over. Because the world is now suffering. It's a question of time where people will not have enough food to eat even if he has money. That is the situation where we are going to be, and that is what I thought is important. Now, second very important area, whether you are running a workshop, a machine shop or anything, either you do a breakdown maintenance or you remove a part too early. Both are bad. Because if you are breakdown maintenance, your shop floor is down. Or your productivity has come down. Or you have removed a part too early, again you are losing a good part. Okay, health monitoring and prognostic is a key area. And this is one thing which has been used, which is being used. It will have fantastic benefits. In aircraft, what it is, I'm from a fighter aircraft program, it increased the mission readiness. Because after all, what is used of a fighter aircraft is always busy maintaining it. You have to have an aircraft which is available when you want it, okay? And reduce the downtime, improve safety, reduce redundancy requirement. Sometimes you use 4 or 5 parallel things because you don't know which will fail. But if I know predictive, you can predict what is going to fail. I don't have to have such much of redundancy. I can do only duplex is good enough. Reduce sustained burden and address for all health. This is what goes. So to provide the right information to the right people at the right time so that decision can be made and action taken. This is an important thing, and this is what I found. I'll give you 3 or 4 examples, then I will move forward. This is the aircraft. You can remaining useful life of a structure. The whole airframe, how do I know the structure has still life or not? This has been done at the ADA, from where our friend has come now, okay, Arya. This is what we do. We put strain gauges, but one of the problem is the strain gauge healthy? If strain gauge sensor is unhealthy, how do I know what results I got? You have to use what you call your AI techniques to identify whether strain gauge is healthy or not. This is what they have done. Very beautifully done. And this is what I am presenting is what is being used regularly in the aircraft. And you also do a prognostic, how much life is left, how do I use the aircraft. This is what we are going to do that. This is what you call actuators, very critical function. Control is a very, very, very critical function. How much life is there, how do I use that? This is the function which is being used now for the purpose. So this is what we are doing, okay? Sensor anomaly detection. Because there are hundreds and thousands of sensors. I must be able to know which sensor is functioning, which has a problem. Through this technology, we are able to now find out which sensors I can rely on, and what were not reliable I can tell out, and I get good results. This is what one of the important points which I am doing that. And heat exchangers, see today, whether you are running a computer or anything, heat is being generated. Heat exchangers health is very, very important. You don't have sensors on heat because they work at a high temperature. Virtual sensors, what we put, and thereby you are able to see how the function is going to be, okay? So, yeah, is vital element of aircraft health management, especially in diagnostic. In enhanced safety, reduced downtime, reduced maintenance, reduced operating cost, and higher availability, okay? This is important because any course you are running, this health, I'm talking of aircraft because of my familiarity. It is equally valid for automobile and your workshop, you are operating any machine, whether the lathe or anything. This is what is important. We can easily work on that, develop the technology whereby your workshop will become more efficient and your cost of operation will come down. This is what I feel. This is important for you to see. Now, I think Arya is a aerodynamist, okay, CFD man. It is hugely very extensively today. I was very happy when I found there's a young team there. See, normally what we do, you have an aerofoil and a wing exit got there. I try to find out how the flow is and all those kind of things. Alternate is, I want a particular type of flow, a pressure distribution, and what is the kind of wing shape I should get. Okay, that is my problem. Okay, inverse design, that's what I call as inverse design. You conventionally, you do this one and you get a CP distribution. Proposed real time is, this is the alternate, using machine learning model. This is what we do, okay? So with this, you can see, instead of using conventional neural networks, Beautifully you can do that. You can use both convolutional network, neural network, and put the whole thing together, and you are getting a shape which you look for. And given a simple example of a aerofoil, but same thing is valid for a wing also. This is important because that is how nowadays you will do. So inward design of convolutional neural networks, you will see that accurate prediction and training data set. This is important. And a training data set, because you have to train your system, and that is what it can do that. And this is doing pretty well, okay? Accurate prediction, the test data set. This is what the team has done. And I just want to go one more problem. See, to accurate intake, there is aircraft has an engine, aircraft is there. The interface is an intake. Through intake, we take the air, and that air, after so many changes, it goes into the engine, and the engine has to function. If this intake doesn't function well, you get a lower thrust. It's a big problem. It's a problem what was there 100 years back. It is a problem even today is there. We are predict dynamic. Why? Because static we can do that with our, but even best of the technologies, dynamic simulation we are not able to do. Okay? This fellow, Yuzhang, they have been able to predict. And it has given pretty good results. We can also say whether the problem with the aircraft system or problem with the engine system. Both can be analyzed. And then you can accurately say, this is the problem. So very, very, very important and critical function, okay? Aircraft intake dynamics. Dynamics is always a problem. And this fellow helps you to do the dynamics. So what is it? This is what I felt. The team here, I want to emphasize is, sometimes the data is very little. So, but physics-informed neural network, PIN what you call, is an alternative to CFD. The data is inadequate, so it will give inadequate results or wrong results and all. But the physics of the problem is known. The physical principles are added, put together, then what you get will be an extremely good data, very good accuracy. So the PIN, PINN, what you call it, is a very important technique in areas where enough data is not available. And this will give you much better results. And so far, the experiments have, and you don't need mesh generation. People who have done CFD, they will tell, so mesh generation is a big headache. We used to have a joke earlier, 20, 25 years back. By the time the mesh is ready, the need for it is lost. Okay? But now you don't need a mesh at all. Without mesh, you can handle. I felt very happy that this is the kind of thing what we are doing. So physical neural and an alternative to traditional CFD. CFD is a very time-consuming, costly, everything. This is a technique which we must look at it. But what I found is we need to pursue it further, and it will give us good results. Last, it is work in progress, not done, but it's an important. When a civil aircraft you are flying, or a fighter, when your pilot is flying, he has hundreds of informations about the enemy, about his own aircraft, his health of the aircraft, radar, hundreds of things. He's just unable to do what next to be done. It is extremely tiring job, extremely difficult job. Can there be a pilot, an associate pilot, who can do all this information and provide him the right inputs on the basis of which he can take the decision? Also, this is what we call electronic. You can call it pilot associate, whatever name you want to do. This is the aircraft what Arya has been talking about. This aircraft is now, for last 22 years, it has been flying without a single accident. Only aircraft in the whole world of this category which is flown without any incident or accident. I think it is a record which has been set. Irrespective of the Chinese, Russians, Americans, British, French, all of their aircraft, Swedish, they have failed, they have crashed. This is the only fellow, last 22.5 years, working well. And I'm very happy to tell you, Indian Air Force first started with 20, then 40, then 120, now another 100. 220 Indian Air Force alone is asking for. And if we are able to produce, a lot more will be required. And that is the aircraft water. And our experience is on this aircraft. We are now going to the next generation aircraft. That is what I'm telling. The 5th and 6th generation stealth fighters. They have a stealth, advanced sensor suit, but the last 3 are important. Electronic pilot, which can help the pilot, and optional manning, takeoff and landing. Can I make this aircraft which can, the pilot is on the ground and you fly. Okay, optional piloting, and manned unmanned teaming. A manned aircraft is by definition costly. Can I have a team between manned and unmanned, whereby I have about 3-4 of unmanned, one manned, and interface between them? And that is where the sensor technologies, the what you call ML and DL, become extremely important, very, very critical. Okay? Lot of work is going on all the world. So also we are doing this work here. So this is the kind of thing what you do, combat, we do enemy air defense, lot of things we have done that. Okay? So what are the things? Pilot interaction, observe, orient, detect, act. OODA means observe, orient, detect, act. OODA. We call it OODA. This is how the pilots look. What is that? He observes, situation assessment, decision making, action. Okay? How do you do that? What are the kind of things? Need for them. Mental, you look at things, rules of engagement. Then you look at the manage the wingman, the man on the side. Okay, avoid hitting something. Radio chatter, RW audios. Is this my target? You want to know with my target? A radar track, IRST track, RW track, data link track. Which one? Okay, threats, bullets, missiles, radiation, contamination. You name it. Everything is there, and the fellow is there. How does he take a decision? It is one of the most difficult things which can be done. Assist pilot mission and mission survive. What are the things she has to do? This is what the electronic pilot. Several modules of this. It is ideally suited for ML and DL. Okay? This is the way. All that. EP module, synthetic vision, dynamic planner, auto target, target identification, situation analysis, EW, dynamic plan, synthetic, collision avoidance, all he has to do in real time. Okay, this is what the pilot, automatic pilot will able to do. So I have listed here in green, electronic pilot. These are the modules which are important for an electronic pilot. Okay, so information fusion, 100, so many sensors are there. They are giving you information. How do I fuse them? This is where your AI becomes important. Atomic target recognition system. This is all in the adversarial kind. How do I do that? Then dynamic route planning. Okay, if there is one way it is a problem, how do I do the planning? How do I do that? Okay, this is one step. Then EW, electronic warfare support system. Because I must jam the enemy is jamming me. How do I now move forward? It is an extremely important and critical function what we want to do. So the combat identification, okay, target identification. These are the kind. All these, each one by itself, is a major, what you call, area for artificial intelligence, especially the ML and DL. Each one. And whole world, people are trying, people are working, but lot more has to be done so that we will be able to do. And after doing all that, I should not collide. A ground collision should not occur. Okay? This is what we are talking about. So the last, but the most important, is the manned and unmanned teaming. I can't put so many manned fighters. Each will, even the so-called low-cost fighter like what we are talking of Tejas, it costs you about 300 to 400 crores. An aircraft like what we are talking, F-35, cost you about something like about $100 million. So this is the kind of thing. How do we do that? This is again an area where we need to work and see how we can succeed in that. So we have reached a crucial moment where using AI is not just a choice, but a necessity to stay competitive globally. If you don't use, you are out. I think this is the point I want to mention. So thank you for inviting me. Many, many thanks.
Could I request you to stay?
Okay. I'll be here. I will leave it here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. It was really enlightening talk. And you really seeded many thoughts in our brains, and thank you. Now I request our Professor Arun Pujari to come out to the dais and felicitate Dr. Kota Harinarayanan. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Pujari. Thank you, Dr. Kota Harinarayanan. Today we are honored to have Professor Nikhil R. Paul delivering the inaugural lecture. He has did his PhD from Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and also he is professor and has dedicated his primary research efforts to two key domains of computational intelligence, neural networks and fuzzy logic, occasionally delving into the evolutionary computing as well. So he has published more than 270. All right, so one line, one bottom line. So he has lots of accolades in his credit, and I'm mentioning only a few here. And I think that you can understand through his lecture. So thank you, I welcome him.
Still we are in the morning, right? Yeah, good morning.
I'll arrange for a collar mic for you.
No, do you have the microphone?
Collar mic is there?
Or the microphone is focused?
Yeah. Just I'll. So that is right.
If you want the mic, yes.
Just turn it on. Hello, hello, hello. No, this is okay, I think. You want to connect that? Hello, hello. Yes, that's good. I'll go down. Okay, the coordinator asked me. Okay. Am I audible at the back? Okay, so asked me to cut down my talk. So I need an AI system to do this, but I'll do it towards the end. Maybe I may go sometimes out of synchrony. Now, after such two fantastic talks, I think nothing is left for me, and I'm really worried. So what I'm going to talk about is the light is not on.
So you want the light?
No,
I'll just let me see because it's too far away actually.
No, I want the slider.
Slider is also here.
I know.
You want slider?
No. This.
Slider is working.
Okay, working.
Okay, now go backward.
Okay, so the talk is kind of strange, and let me begin with a caveat. Sometimes I may sound like I'm talking against AI. No, that's not true, because my living comes in some sense from here, so that is not true. But I have some concerns and some issues and some future avenues, so I'll try to present that. Interplay between AI and BI, where AI stands for artificial intelligence and BI stands for biological intelligence, primarily the neuroscience. And I must mention that sometimes you may feel that I know a lot of biology. No, I have been struggling with biology since 2002, and I felt that this is the most difficult subject on the planet, knowing knowledge of physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology, whatnot. So to understand the interplay between these two kinds of intelligence, we need to know what biological intelligence is and what artificial intelligence is. Professor Sahasrabuddhe has given a very deep insight into artificial intelligence, but I will have a shorter one to make my journey better. So I looked at various dictionaries, and one of the definitions I found is ability to learn, understand, and think in a logical way about things. So we do not have any objection to this, but I thought at least we should add two more attributes to it: infer and act. Unless we do some inferencing and finally act on that, probably intelligence is not complete. But is it enough to accommodate discovery of gravitational theory from the fall of an apple? This question I leave it to you, whether this is a sufficient definition to accommodate this, or any of the definition of AI or whatever can do that. Now, AI, again, there are many dictionary definitions, and if you ask experts, different experts will give different answers. And essentially, it depends on who you ask the question and when you ask. If I would have asked this question 10 years back, the answer could have been completely different from what we hear today. So one of the definitions is capability of a machine to imitate intelligent human behavior. It's a quite loaded definitions, but still I don't think this is not a good one. And the reason is, I will kind of show that imitating human behavior is neither necessary nor sufficient for today's scenario to call it artificial intelligence. Now, all of you know this gentleman, his name is KJ, who defeated the best Go player in 2017. And it made a big news, and it made some moves which normally a human player would not make, and that's why it could defeat the human player. But still, do you call it imitating human behavior? I'll be a little concerned about this, because it failed to answer why, or it cannot answer why those moves were made. So unless it can provide some kind of explanation and logic behind the act it makes, it's not, to me, it's not good enough to call it intelligent. Now, so it's not sufficient. Is it necessary? I'll mention about one problem in biology or computational biology, which is protein folding. I think everybody knows protein. Protein is a sequence of amino acid, in particular maybe 19 amino acids and 1 amino acid, but generally we call 20 amino acids. You put the protein into a solvent, in nanosecond times it takes very funny structure like something like this. And if you can predict the structure, if you want to know the structure using physics-based technique like nuclear magnetic resonance imaging, it takes a lot of time. But if you can do it using machine learning, you should be able to do it quickly. And yes, there is a system which is called AlphaFold, which can do a great job of this. But can a human being do it? Human being cannot do it today, and I can probably with a very big certainty, I can say that they will never be able to do it. So it's also not necessary to call, but we call it AI, or whether you call it machine learning, but we call it AI in today's scenario. So these definitions and distinctions between AI and BI are confusing to me, but we can live with it. Like I said, it's going to rain heavily. What do I mean by heavily? We do not know really, but we can live with it. And because of the various legal consequences of using AI systems, almost every country is struggling to come up with a workable definition of AI. The reason is, for example, if a driverless car hits a person and the person dies, who will be made responsible? The company has produced, the person who has developed the software, the person who bought the car. So there are many other consequences for any application of AI, legal consequences. So working definitions, and my country may come up with a set of rules, and which some other country, when I try to sell my product, may not accept it. Now, some issues with the AI system. So in my view, that today's AI systems are driven by a principle like bigger the better. Bigger architecture, bigger data sets, larger the system, we are going to do better. And people probably have forgotten about the principle of minimum description length or principle of parsimony, things like that. Just let's have a quick look at the landscape, how we are doing in terms of scaling up and use of big data. I'll go through this because of lack of time. Very quickly here, I'll show you a picture. So if you look at the 2018, these are restricted only to language model, and I call it snapshot because there were many other players during this time. We started with, say, BERT, which had only 110 million free parameters and trained on 2,500 million words, and that was a big system. Then GPT-2 that jumped to 1.5 billion free parameters in 2019. 2022, GPT-3 had 175 billion free parameters. And you can see the data size also increased accordingly. And in 2023, everybody probably knows GPT-4 has 170 trillion free parameters. It looks like crazy. Human brain has 180 to 320 trillion parameters, but there are other estimates also. Some people say around 100 trillion free parameters. I have seen some places which is saying 90 trillion free parameters. So we are close to human brain, but doing very little job. However smart you call ChatGPT or GPT-4, considering what a human being can do, it's far, far below that. Are you really in the right direction? I don't have the answer. Now, if you look at the landscape over a very short period, mid-2021 and to mid-2022, you can see how things have increased. We have models with 540 billion free parameters. And then the disruption came. GPT-4 with 170 trillion free parameters. I need to drink water every 5 minutes according to doctor's advice. Sorry about that. It's a problem of voice which is called sulcus vocalis, and when I ask doctor, they say that don't speak. If you speak in such a manner that the people behind 3 feet cannot listen to you. And if you are forced to speak, drink water every 5 minutes. So you can see how the landscape has changed, and it seems that there is a competition to increase the size, that is the complexity, and the data. And also there is a belief, it seems like the data say all. The physics-inspired or physics-induced AI is an aberration there, but otherwise people believe that that is a very fantastic thing. Now let's look at this example. This baby is touching a candle, and this baby will do it once or twice, and then after that he or she will not do it. It does not need 1 million examples to train these things, right? In 1 or 2 shots it can do it. So there is something beyond this trend that is going on now. Should we care about reducing the complexity of the model? Personally, I think we should. But here is a quote from one article in Medium which says that, which is advocating that we should keep on increasing the model size and the data. The number of parameters is one way to measure the capacity and the complexity of the language models. With larger models able to generate more human-like responses and perform better on various language tasks. You will see, I'll come up with an example where you will probably disagree with this claim. So again, I just want to emphasize this, that this may not be the best direction, but if you ask me what is the direction, probably what comes to my mind is get inspiration from the brain, get inspiration from the physics, get inspiration from the science, and try to build into the model. Is this trend really sustainable also when we are close to the number of synapses in the human brain? Of course, the model of the synapse here is very, very simple. I'll come to this issue later. Now, I cannot resist myself not to show this slide. What all-time greatest scientists said, this is, everybody knows the picture. Make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. So your system should be simple enough, but so that it works, don't try to oversimplify it. I am not a genius, I am just curious. I ask many questions. When the answer is simple, then God is answering it. What can be stronger than emphasizing on simplicity? Well, we don't need to stop here. Go about 200 to 50 years back. Nature is pleased with simplicity, and nature is no dummy. Nature is not stupid. So probably the truths are simpler than what we are doing. But none of these codes are written for AI ML systems, but I think personally people may disagree with me. There is still relevance to this. Do this give an answer? You can say these are all philosophical talk. No. So maybe we should go into little details. Now again, I admit here that I do acknowledge that there's been fantastic positive growth in AI, and I don't have a definitive answer to the questions that I have raised. But I want to draw an example here. The post-GPT era, post-chat-GPT era, or after chat-GPT, a new job has come up, I am told, which is called prompt engineer, and whose job is there, highly paid job, whose job description is given here. So essentially, in my view, is we have an large language models which are not robust, which cannot do a good job, and then we have appointed a set of engineers which will interact with the system and then try to interact in such a manner so that this system is trained not to offend people, not to give crazy answer. Is this the right thing? Does not look so. So what are the other consequences of such big systems? Professor Sahasrabuddhe mentioned about transparency, no, in the morning keynote mentioned about transparency. Transparency fall flat, interpretability, the question cannot arise even, explainability is very difficult, fairness, unbiasedness, difficult to ensure, trustworthiness, very difficult to realize. What I mean by trustworthiness, I mean that the system should be accurate enough and the system should be able to say, I do not know under appropriate condition, and most of the systems cannot do it. Now, unfair research opportunity, this is a very serious thing, and most of the people don't care about it, but we like Indian, I think I should care about it. The reason is from 2014 onwards, AI research has been basically taken over by the industries. Sorry, nothing, don't take it otherwise. It has been taken over by industry. They have bought the professors also in some sense. Now imagine, would anyone here, unless from a big industry, can train a model with even 150 billion free parameters? In ISA, I cannot do it. So this makes the research opportunity very unfair to countries like ours. The carbon footprint is also very, very high. For example, the GPT-4, the carbon dioxide emission for training the system is roughly about the annual carbon emission of about 3,000 cars, passenger cars in US. And you know in US, they don't believe in trains or any other transportation, they primarily use car. So here comes the importance of interplay between AI and BI. My view may be a little bit biased. You may happily disagree with it. I will not go and argue. So first what I'll do, I'll try to consider some of the existing examples where the interplay probably has been discovered after the AI system has been discovered, and then what we can plan to do, what we can do in future, taking into account that this interplay is important. Now, you will agree that the first early AI began with the inspiration from the brain. The first computational neuron was proposed in 1943 by McLuhan Pitts. This is much before the AI term was coined in 1955 or 56. However, there are references to intelligent machines playing chess even before 1943. So this was inspired from the biological neuron, but does it really mimic a biological neuron? The answer is, if I give a correct answer, the answer is really much more complex than what we are modeling here. But still, it has given us a lot of things to work with. This is a very powerful machine. This can This can be used as a classifier, and lot of AI systems essentially based on this machine. Now, now I am trying to show some interplay between CNN and the information processing in the ventral system, which is a hierarchical system like with layers of neurons V1, V2, V4 and IT. Now, in 1962, there was a famous experiment done by Hubel and Wiesel. What they did is, they showed a cat bars, either with a bright background with a dark bars or dark background with a bright bars. And what they found is that some of the neurons in the brain has very specific orientation bias and location bias. Location and orientation both. And they call it simple neuron. And they also found another categories of neuron which have the same kind of orientation biases, but they are little robust with respect to the position bias, which means if you shift a little bit from the previous position, still it fires, but the orientation should be same. So these cells they call complex cells. So they inferred that these complex cells are receiving inputs from several simple cells which have the same preferred orientation, but slightly preferred different preferred location. That means they are little tolerant to shift in the location. And so naturally say this complex cell must be doing some kind of aggregation. Now if you try to see how this deep neural network really evolved, I must mention about the neocogniton by Professor Fukushima. He actually used these two kinds of cell, one is called S cells, another is C cells, simple cell and complex cell. And the modern CNN also has a striking similarity with this discovery. What is that? You can see that this is the biological neuron. So I have a simple cell which is responding to this particular direction. I have a bar here which is little shifted from here, but the orientation is parallel to it. So this gives a response here. Similarly, one here, they have same orientation but little different location, and the complex cells they aggregate this. Now what do we do in CNN? We do exactly the same thing. Here we do something like called max pooling. And you know that this shifting sensitivity can be accounted by this max pooling, and the orientation remains the same. So this interplay is important. Now here is another one, again which is related to the ventral system processing and the neural network. So there was an experiment with macaque. We all know that human visual system has this hierarchical processing V1, V2, V4 and IT. These are the areas with different kinds of neuron. So this hierarchy immediately tells that there is the importance of labels. CNN uses that. So there is a relation. And this paper, they have showed something really amazing. They showed a complex image to this macaque, and also they use the same image given the same image to a trained computational neural network, CNN, convolutional neural network, which is very well trained. And then they looked at the output of the last layer of the neural network and as well as the output of the IT layer, the inferotemporal layer of the neurons of the macaque. And they tried to fit a regression model, whether from the neural model, artificial neural model, whether they can predict that. And they found amazing capability of predicting this. And same thing was also observed for lower level of neuron from CNN to the V4 level of the brain of the macaque. So the and the more interesting is the artificial network which performed better in the prediction, that also showed better match with the better correlation with the biological neurons prediction, biological neurons activities. So it looks like this hierarchical model of CNN is in synchrony with the biological information processing. There are many other interplays that are available in the literature. I want to just conclude this part using the transformer model. Now everybody knows about transformer because this is an encoder decoder model, and this is the most successful model for large scale language modeling. Now recently, it's only in 2021, one paper has shown that a very interesting connection between the transformer and neuroscience model. What they have found is transformer can learn spatial representations found in the brain. So brain has, when you navigate in a place, brain has to model some of this Euclidean space, and they have neurons which are located on a kind of grid which fires to model this environment. And then transformer is found to predict that examples the grid cells in the brain. So which was very, very surprising. But when transformer was designed, according to these authors, they did not design keeping anything of brain in mind. There is another research work which shows that there is a close relationship between the hippocampal formation for this macaque and the transformer. In fact, they said that the transformer model can better explain some of the neuroscience better than the neuroscience models. Although this was not, the transformer model was not designed keeping in view the brain. Now, what does it say? So it says at least one thing, that if we can, quote unquote, mimic neuroscience, we probably will get better system. But this, I want to give a caution here. All this similarity does not necessarily imply, for example, the transformer functions like human brain. No, absolutely not. Even the synapses are far from reality, which you are going to see soon. So probably enough evidence that the interplay between biological network and the biological intelligence, or the biological neural network and artificial neural network, is important because one can help each other. So here are some attributes of biological intelligence that may be explored if you want to realize quote unquote human-like AI. And it can be done at various levels, at the neuron level or at the synapse level. Currently some of the things are done at a collective behavior level. Even at the synapse level, what we are doing is far from the reality. And we can do at a very high level also, like today's morning talk mentioned about fuzzy information processing. Human brain is not very good at processing precise information. For example, if I try to train somebody driving, and if I tell him or her that if you are 100 meters away from the red light, and if you are traveling at the speed of 50 kilometers per hour, apply 50 dynes force for 3 seconds. The person will go crazy and cannot learn anything. But if I say, if you are close to the red light, if you are driving fast, press the brake pretty hard, it will work. So at various levels, it can be exploited. Now, for artificial neural network, I have already mentioned that we model synapses by simply a scalar value. I need to finish quickly, which is too simple to reality, because there has been clear findings in mammalian synapses that both synaptic terminals or the synapses exhibit very well organized protein networks. So it's not just a constant value. There is a very well organized protein networks, and that helps to develop physiological as well as behavioral properties. It's very complex. I tried to scan the paper. It's very difficult to get a grasp of thing. Here is just the summary line. So, and there are the other papers which shows that if we can capture this kind of thing, then we can do better modeling of the learning and memory. So naturally, if we can do a better model of synapse and use in our artificial neural network, we might be able to do a better AI system. This is my last example. Suppose I am playing cricket and I am a bowler. I want to throw a leg spin. It did not work well. Now, which of the, or what are the neurons or synapses of the 100,000 trillion synapses are responsible for this mistake? And how the brain finds them and do the correction, so that next time when I do it, I do a better job. Now in artificial neural network, what we do? We have an error measure, we calculate the gradient, when we update the weights. It's as simple as that. But brain doesn't do that way. But do you know how does the brain do? We still do not know how exactly it is done. What is known is that the processing is local. For example, one synapse will update itself based on the status of the two neurons connecting them, or its neighbors. So it's very little is known about this, but if it can be incorporated into AI system, we should be able to develop highly parallel and possibly much better AI system. Now, we made a few attempts, which I am not, because of lack of time, I will skip. We tried to use computational models of lateral geniculate nucleus, which is a neuron, very important neuron in the vision systems. There are two of them, one in towards the left side of the thalamus, other in the right side of the thalamus. We use this model to extract features and tried to use in a network with two parallel towers. We are writing the paper yet, but we know that when we try to publish it, we'll have great difficulty. Then we also tried to, based on anatomical experiments, we tried to propose models of neurons in the visual cortex and tried to use them, extract feature and also design self-organizing map. We submitted the paper to one of the journals, I'm not mentioning the name, and the response came that you have to compare with a huge data set with state-of-the-art deep neural network. The boy has gone for postdoctoral research, so our paper, we couldn't publish it. And now if you get true inspiration of biological neural into your model, my experience so far is we made 3-4 attempts. You may not be able to beat the deep neural networks which are driven by this gradient descent. Very difficult. And then we have also done something again from taking inspiration from cat's visual cortex to make this multi-layer perceptron network, which the previous speaker had shown number of times, to make it little more comprehensible. This work also, again, there are issues with when we try to publish it. Here what we did is we combined two kinds of network. Whatever observation whatever has been seen in cats, there is an experiment where a cat was shown gratings, black and white strip gratings in different orientation, 45 degree, 90 degree, 135 degree and so on. And in the cat's brain, they measured the responses of the neurons. And what was found was for 225 degree, we have a cluster of neurons spatially in the 3 dimension which are fired, and for 45 degree, another cluster of neurons, spatial cluster of neurons, and it goes multiple layers, they are fired, and the neurons which are as if there is a boundary, and in this area there are some neurons which are fired by both of them. So it seems like there is a functional model of a classifier in the cat's brain. This is not pattern recognition, not AI, this is actual findings from cat's brain. So we thought that if we can use this philosophy for a multi-layer perceptron network, it might be more sensible. And we did it, and it works quite nicely also, but I skip those details because I think we are late I just want to go to the conclusion slide. So knowingly, so few points, knowingly or unknowingly, neuroscience has played important roles in the evolution of AI. That I think I have shown enough examples. AI in turn also helped to understand the models of neuroscience. There are many papers which have done that. I have not mentioned. So understanding this AI-BI interplay is important. To get human-like AI, exploitation of BI may be useful. I still use the word may because I have not, we have done something, but that's not that great. There are many potential unexplored avenues. And this trend of bigger the better may not be sustainable unless you leave some space for biological system or the physics inspired system, what sir mentioned, which is very, very important in today. Then probably model can be, as sir has already mentioned, that you don't need too much data. And you don't need too many free parameters also, because augmentation of this physics model or the biological model will help you. So thank you very much. Is it somehow connected with this? Maybe you can use this.
Thank you, Professor Paul. It was really enlightening, and thank you for sharing all your research experience with us. Now I request Dr. Om Prakash, who is the TPC chair of the conference, to come over the dais. And also I request Professor Paul, Dean Academics, to felicitate our Nikhil Paul, today's introductory speaker. Thank you. Thank you. I request Dr. Om to take over.
Good afternoon to the honorable dignitaries and participants. On the behalf of the organizer and the volunteer, I extend my hearty vote of thanks to the honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence and took out the valuable time from their busy schedule. First of all, I would like to propose a hearty vote of thanks to respected Chief Guest, Dr. Kota Harinarayana sir, former Director General Tejas Program, former Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad. Thank you, sir, for gracing us by your presence in our inaugural function of the 3rd International Conference on Emerging Techniques in the Computational Intelligence 2023. Thank you, sir, for your interesting and thoughtful, provoking address. Surely some applications shown by you in your presentation will motivate students to work in this direction. I would like to extend my special thanks to our guest of honor, Professor Anil Sahasrabudhe, Chairman of NBA and NAC, and ex-chairman of All India Counseling for Technical Education, AICTE. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your knowledge and giving us information about the step taken by India for ease of living, and the student contribution in that. I would like to extend my special thanks to our General Chair, Professor Nikhil Arpal, Professor ISI Kolkata, and ex-president of IEEE Computational Intelligence Society. Sir, thank you very much for guiding us by your talk and telling us importance of AI in BI, also showing the other side of AI. Also, we also want to thank you for guiding us throughout the journey of this conference at different times. I also wish to express my profound gratitude and special thanks to Professor Akira Hirose for their extensive support and guidance in making the conference a grand success. I am very grateful to our patron, Professor Yajulu Madurui, Vice Chancellor Mahindra University, for his extensive support and guidance. Sir, without your contribution, continuous support and motivation, we cannot think about this conference. I also thank Professor Arya Bhattacharya, Head of Computer Science Department and Dean Research, for continuous guidance throughout the year and for leading the team of this conference throughout the year. I express my gratitude to all chair, like from Publicity Committee Chair, Dr. Dilip Singh Sisodia, Dr. Deepak Gupta, Dr. Tilotma Goswami, Dr. Sou Nobukawa, Dr. Sanatan, and because of them, we could attract double paper than the last year conference. I would like to thank Tutorial Committee Chair, Dr. Neha and Dr. Neeraj, Special Session Chair, Dr. Rammurthy and Dr. Ayati, Organizing Committee Chair, Dr. Prafulla and Dr. Mahesh, Finance Committee Chair, Dr. Yamendra Reddy, Publication Committee Chair, Dr. Bhanu, and all the special proposers for making the conference successful with their contribution. I extend my gratitude to all the reviewers who worked voluntarily and are considered as the backbone of any conference. Without them, conducting any conference is not possible. Who have reviewed many papers that has been submitted to this conference. We received around 142 papers from different areas of India and abroad. From India, we received the paper from ISC Bangalore. I'm just naming some premium institute. ISC Bangalore, IIT Kharagpur, several NITs, several IIITs, College of Engineering Pune, DTU, South Asian University, and many renowned colleges of Hyderabad. From abroad, we received paper from the University of Tokyo, Japan, National Institute of Basic Biology, Japan, Toho University, Japan, Technological University of Shannon, Ireland, University of Technology and Applied Science, Oman, University of Sharjah, United Arab Emirates, Northeastern University of China. And there are many more, which I am not naming here. As no program can become successful without a single person contribution, so I extend my big thanks to our faculty members and volunteers who are working restless since last few days and will be working till the end of this conference. At last, I thanks to all participants who have turned up in such a great number. Thank you very much for making this conference successful with your contribution.
Thank you, Dr. Om. Now we'll have a very quick short coffee break for nearly about 10 minutes, and then we'll join for a very interesting talk by Dr. Simon C. from NVIDIA.